Today I'm going to tell you all about my Meridian dress that I made. So first I'm going to show you some pictures of what the dress looked like. For my Makes Challenge video, and basically I really enjoyed making this dress. It was so easy, and the fabric was like buttery soft. It's from Lamazi Fabrics. I don't think they have this fabric anymore, but they still have some beautiful fabric similar. I have found this fabric in some other places, and I have the links down below. I think fabric choice for this, you should get something like flowy and not too thick. As you can see from my picture, the ties in the front would be kind of too bunchy if the fabric didn't like kind of fall on my chest and kind of rest comfortably. And so I think that something like light and flowy and like a rayon or viscose is great. A satin, if you're brave enough. Slippery satin would be beautiful. So the modifications I made were super tiny. Like the dress calls for a 40 centimeter zipper, and if I go to my local fabric store, all they have are 30 to 35 centimeter or 50 to 55. So I just got the longer zipper because I'm like, well, I don't want to not be able to get it off and on because my zipper's too short. So I got the longer one, which is a 20 to 22 inch zipper from my fabric store. And that's really the only thing I changed. Now looking back, I can actually get the dress off and on without undoing the zipper. Because I put it over my head and I don't really have to get over too much, you know, right here. So, so it's really easy to get off and on. And my zipper, I've been having trouble with invisible zippers lately because I think I'm sewing too close to them, making them too invisible. And so they're not wanting to like zip up and down very easily. And this one is so perfect. It's just all the way down the 22 inch zipper and all the way back up. Maybe stop for like a second, have to readjust, but like it's so good. And I'm like, I don't even need it all the time. So next time if I make it again, which I hardly ever make things twice, I just have learned that about myself, but if I do, I could probably make it without a zipper. So the pattern layout, just be careful when you lay it out, because I did mine on the fold. Because it's not really a directional fabric. It's not, there's no stripes or anything. So I did it the easy way. I folded the fabric in half, selvage to selvage. And I feel like my fabric underneath must have been off grain somehow when I cut out the pattern pieces, because one front piece, when I folded the tie, you have to, the tie is attached to the front bodice piece, which is like crazy and kind of cool. But when I folded the tie, one of them was great. It folded perfectly. And then the other one, I could tell the material was off grain because it was like twisting almost for me to get the seam allowances to line up, or the edges to line up. And I was like, what is going on with this? And then I'm like, I must have just cut that one off grain. It's a really loose tie, and so it's not really like that big a deal, because you can't tell. I mean, it's not like a crucial part of the dress because it's just the tie, but I knew it was there and it was bugging me. So but I didn't redo it because I was like, well, you won't be able to see that. Just a note on that though, just in general, just pay attention to your fabric on the bottom. Maybe lay out the fabric on the bottom first, like make sure it's on grain, and then carefully fold over the top. I don't know what else to say other than that. Make sure the selvages are lined up and it's not warped on the side or on the fold. And then for the construction, I think that the pleats weren't like very well explained on the pattern piece, like, because it didn't have arrows on where to pull the notches. Like sometimes if you have a notch here and a notch here, it'll have an arrow saying, hey, bring this notch to this notch. They didn't have that, but it wasn't like the end of the world, because I just look at the illustration and I could figure out, like, okay, the fold is like going this way, so it needs to be pulled, or, you know, you can figure it out by the picture. So that was one of the only things. And then whenever it tells you to sew your facing, it wants you to top stitch the facing. Once it's all sewn in, once the facing is folded to the inside of the dress, it wants you to top stitch it. I have trouble with this because my fabric, even though I was using a walking foot, was being pushed along and kind of like pinching as I was sewing the facing. So you're top stitching the facing. So you're not seeing the facing, it's underneath your dress, but you're like top stitching on your dress to attach the facing really well. So what I ended up doing is top stitching the facing from the underside. And I basically just tried to stay a consistent amount away from the fold or the edge so that it looks consistent from the right side. And my bobbin thread was the same color and it looks fine. So I did it that way, and that way it kind of gently eased in this fabric, which was tending to stretch and pull, and then it had the interfaced facing like right underneath the presser foot, and so it wasn't being pushed. And so that's what I ended up doing. And I started my stitch from the middle neckline of the dress and went all the way to the edge, and then I started from the middle again and went all the way. I did backstitch there, but it's so tiny you can't really tell. If I was on the sewing bee, they'd probably say something bad about it, but I'm not, so there. Wouldn't that be awesome? I'm not good enough for that. Okay, anyway, moving on. Let's see. Oh, when you are attaching the front skirt to the front bodice, you basically sew the front skirt together, and then you cut into the seam allowance so that you can peel it open and basically attach it to the front bodice. You'll see what I'm talking about whenever you put it together. But this, when I was sewing it together, it kind of almost left a hole in the middle part. And so, if I can ever fold this wrong side out, I can show you. Lord have mercy. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Okay, there we go. So, here it is. This is the front bodice piece up here, and this is the bottom. Okay, what I did was I basically stitched down to make sure this little hole was covered. I stitched down into this little like V basically and back up, and you'll see kind of what I'm talking about, because on the right side, this part where the ties and the front bodice and the bottom skirt or the front skirt meet is a place where you can have a potential hole, and I didn't want that, and so I kind of just like went down. You'll see what I'm talking about, but I just kind of overly stitched it and just took like a bigger chunk out, and it made like a little pin tuck, or kind of, not pin tuck, that's not right the word, but like a little pinch or pleat, which normally would bother me, but guess what? The dress ties are meant to cross over that, so nobody will ever see that. So, and now I won't have a hole in my dress. So I did that, and then that's it for the construction. And then the pattern fit was awesome. I mean, there's so much room to play with. Like, it's not a super tight fitting dress, so there's a lot of ease everywhere, so I didn't have any trouble with any of the fit. And then the styling, the dress basically speaks for itself, especially since it's like a print. But I love to wear different kinds of shoes and hats with it. I probably would, I think it would look really awesome with a trench coat if I was awesome enough to make one, but I haven't got around to it yet. But I think it would be really cool with that, and yeah, like, you know, whatever's in your closet, just mix and match. You never know what's gonna go together. If I've learned anything, I just like go in my closet and I'm like, this and this, and I put it together, and sometimes it's a massive failure, and sometimes it's, what? Where's this been all my life? So anyway, just see what you have, mix and match. But I think this dress looks good with just about anything, so. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed everything and learned something from all my rambling on. If you like this video, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified whenever I have a new video. Leave me a comment and I will answer any questions you have, or if you just want to say hi, say hi. You can find me on Instagram as well. Don't forget, that's where I post all my makes and a few extra things. And you'll definitely find out if I have a video there as well. Also, check out my blog because I put all this information in my blog too. So, thanks for watching. Bye.